if you're going to go for a more of a part-time player and you want to, big shot grand slam type running back, TreVeyon Henderson. So I think this is contingent on us thinking we're always going to have a cheap bruiser with him. One thing I've heard more than anything about him is he's just not going to be a 25 carry guy. That's not his game. You don't want to draft him to be that because then you're not getting the real value of why you're drafting him. So he's not a workhorse. He's not that at all. If you have a Lions type backfield and you want him to be your 1B with your masher, you want him to be your Gibbs type, I think that's more of what you want, right? He's explosive. He can accelerate. You'll scheme up certain plays for him. This is the kind of guy redrafts and is like, I know what I'm going to do with him, right? I have a plan for him. Good in the pass game, doesn't fumble. He's not just finesse. He can stiff arm third level DBs. He gets creative. He can juke. He can stiff arm. He can hurdle. He sees concepts really well. He's not very big, but he does get yards after contact for his size because he's really got really good body balance. Most of the guys I've heard talk about him say 8 to 12 touch guy a game to be most effective. That's what you want. You want him to be 8 to 12 touch guy. Maybe more if he's feeling it, a little less if he's not, but around that range, that's what you want out of him.
So obviously, I liked Henderson. I like Judkins more from of that backfield, the Ohio State backfield. But I wouldn't mind him. I think it's interesting. I haven't really seen much of a difference since the combine, but are they still going around? They're still going around the same area, Henderson and Judkins.
Yeah, Like I saw NFL Stock Exchange shot out. They're great. They had us taking him in their mock in the second round or early third, whatever, 3 picks away from each other. But even they said they're very likely will not be here. But just a lot of fun just to be able to throw him around the field, split him out wide sometimes, just get him into great matchups and just become a matchup nightmare. Just scheme him in the open field. That's what you want him to really be. That's what you're drafting him for. Judkins, that's the thing. They're both really talented, but I think you're drafting either one of those guys with a completely different outlook. Judkins is a guy that you want eventually just to be your guy for all 3 downs all the time. Like that's what you're going to work him up to be. Henderson, I don't think you will do that. Maybe they have that. I don't think they would have that way. If they're drafting him, it's to be their specialty guy in space. But yes, second, third.
And with Henderson, obviously he's a kind of a home run. You can look at his numbers here. He's a home run guy, like with 7 yards a carry, 6 yards a carry. 7 yards a carry. Unreal numbers. As far as his pass pro, I feel like a guy like this, that's going to be something he needs to work on. Is that way? What are the experts saying about that?
I heard his pass pro is pretty decent, and some of the concepts he sees defensive concepts and sees the rushes pretty well. He's not huge, so he's going to have trouble against bigger blitzers. But I didn't see that as a problem. I didn't read that it was an issue with him.
Yeah. Again, there's a guy, and that's something that a lot of people, everyone's got their favorites in the draft, but with the running backs spot, there's so many guys I'd be okay with, and he'd be one of these guys I'd be really okay with because you're talking about looking at our lineup right now. Obviously, all those guys are on 1-year deals, but you put him with, Kareem Hunt this year,
yes,
Pacheco. You have that balanced attack. You have a Judkins type with Henderson's potential. And then obviously if you draft Judkins, you can get a Henderson type of guy to be that game breaker speed kind of guy with Judkins to kind of do what he does. Marion Oliver, Judkins reminds me of Adrian Peterson. Am I right? I wouldn't say that. I do like Judkins, but Adrian Peterson was kind of a different animal coming out of college. He was something else. I would say he's more of to me, he reminds me a lot of Kareem Hunt coming out of Toledo. That's more my Judkins comparison.
Yeah, got a little mixing in him, I guess.
Yeah, mixing. That's another one. A guy who could do it all. Not, 4.46 speed's great, but for that size is insane. I mean, his numbers, his combine numbers, no one. I have the stat here.
I think Judkins probably did himself maybe the most good out of not all the running backs. There's some guys that just shot up from like 5th round to like maybe 2nd or 3rd. But among the elite guys, he did himself a lot of favors on the combine. He ran a lot faster than I think people thought he was going to run.
Yeah. Just looking at some of the elements to TreVeyon Henderson. Sorry, I don't want to. This is Henderson. I want to keep with Henderson, but of course the Ohio State backs. I saw this one crazy stat. Henderson's 40-yard dash, he clocked a 4.43, reached a top speed of 23.38 miles per hour as they had him as the 3rd fastest guy in the combine this past year for running back. So pretty interesting. Henderson's play speed was on full display all season, generating 21 different runs of at least 15 plus yards. He had 9 different games of the longest run of at least 20 yards and was a reliable, explosive playmaker for the team all season long. So, talk about explosive plays. He's the guy for that.
Yes.
Now,
you want a guy in space, a part-time player. I think he's the guy you're aiming to get. That's the problem, though. I think most teams are thinking that too. But that kind of player, it's kind of a big-time luxury pick. Unless you're thinking of running your offense through him. But if you are, that's only a 10-touch-a-game guy, right? Like, Detroit's just different, and they had a great vision, and, good on them for having that.
Yeah, well, and I'll say Gibbs got a lot of people were kind of suspect on Gibbs coming out. I was like, oh, yeah, like they just got Montgomery, and now they're going for this guy who's like a one-trick pony kind of guy, and we saw that Gibbs is a different kind of animal.
They had a vision and they went for it. If you're looking to use a guy a certain way and that's going to be your offense, then dude, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and you said it's 2nd, 3rd round, you said for,
yeah, I'd say unless there's a team that's just blown away and they will not let him get by, I'd say mid-2nd to early 3rd is my guess.
Sorry, a little sneeze there. Okay. That's not bad. Thank you. I would say Henderson is the only thing I would say about him. Obviously, we kind of talked about is the fact that you're always going to need to have another guy with him. Whereas with other running backs, we will have to have other guy, but not someone to kind of take the burden off that guy. So let's say I know we've been talking about Judkins again. You have Judkins, you don't really need another guy. Yeah, it's nice to have another guy to kind of spell him every now and then. But with Henderson, you need another guy because you talk about not going to get more than 10 carries a game.
But do you think the Lions care about that right now?
The Lions?
Yeah, they have a guy who you need another guy with Gibbs.
Yeah.
Gibbs is not going to be your 25 a carry full season back.
No, he won't be.
Do you think they're bothered by having to have another guy with them at this point? No, they don't care about that.
No, but so you're
a game breaker.
Yeah, but I'd love to see a whole season with just Gibbs. See how that works out.
He wouldn't finish it. That's what would happen with him.
And that's the problem. That's the problem.
Well, no, is it a problem? They don't expect that of him. They're not. They're gonna running backs. Look, man. What, you're always going to need a 1-year, $1.5 million deal with another guy? You can find Hunts. You can find Pacheco's. You can find those guys.
Kareem Hunt's don't grow on trees, my man.
If they didn't, I don't think he'd be accepting a bottom of the barrel deals. I think mashers who can get tough yards are more plentiful than guys who can break away 80-yard rushes all the time.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.